Okay, so thanks for joining me today, Ben. I really appreciate it. For anybody out there who's listening, I'm here with one of my clients, Ben Lewis over at Kairos Project Group, who is the owner and principal engineer. So thank you for chatting with me today, Ben.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity, Kelsey. Nice to see you
I'm in.
today.
Yeah, you too. So I wanted to chat today about an engagement that we had recently with one of our guys here, Bruce Harris, who's one of our technical solutions consultant, who helped you guys go from an AutoCAD workflow to a Revit workflow. So tell me a little bit about this engagement. What kind of made you guys want to make this shift in your business from AutoCAD to Revit?
Okay. Um, before we dig too deep into that, I do want to give some kudos to Bruce. Bruce, we had Bruce in our office for 4 days for a dedicated class just for us, and just had a great time. Bruce's level of understanding and his level of expertise and the things that he brought to the table made the training class much more than just a training class. I mean, we actually got to talk in depth, industry specific things. We're an MEP firm, so specific to challenges that we have that may not necessarily be software based, but in the training part, Bruce was able to bridge the gap about how Revit can be a tool to help you get across that bridge where AutoCAD couldn't. So I want to start with that, but so we were all AutoCAD based, and we got the Revit softwares, got it into our designer level folks, into our engineers, and we kind of did what I don't know the right term. I call it we hacked Revit. We literally took a hammer and we were beating it with a hammer, and going through the learning curve at kind of our own pace, and wanted to get some of the vocabulary and some of the user interface things down. So when Bruce came in, we were at least familiar with the software. So then it's kind of intuitive in some places, and by just knowing AutoCAD, you kind of you know the things you got to do to move forward. So then we got into the situation where we were going to actually use it on some production jobs, and it went horribly. So we would get the job about 3/4 of the way done, and we couldn't get it complete because we couldn't get things to print right, or we couldn't get it to present right, totally because we hadn't gone through that training class and didn't know that if you go one screen deeper and you hit that property tab or that checkbox, that's why it wasn't doing what it was doing. So, but what we realized immediately out of the box was Revit has built in, it's intuitive how it has things built in, that AutoCAD, what I call it's just shapes on paper, lines and shapes on paper. There's no intuitive nature in the software. So we knew moving forward, a lot of our clients were into the Revit world, and we're all still very accustomed to sending DWGs around. So then we started asking, hey, we want, we're in Revit now. We don't, we're AutoCAD's in the rearview mirror. And so then that kind of opened up that world. As soon as we opened up that Pandora's box, so to speak, it was on. So then cue the training. So what we realized in making that switch was the built-in presentation factors it has, the way it auto hides lines. I mean, stuff that are very simple, very, very simple things to do in CAD, but you have to click and click and click, where in Revit's more of, it's higher level, if you will, where we draw a line, and because you're drawing a line on top of a line or a duct on top of a pipe or whatever, it automatically hides lines for you, things like that. So just the built-in intelligence we knew that was there. We had seen it demonstrated at trade shows or in different places and dealing with different customers and things. So it was time to jump into that world and let the technology get us across that gap, across that bridge.
Yeah, and that's great to hear. So do you think, I guess, making this move into Revit has made you guys a little bit more competitive as a firm?
No, well, that's a great question, because we actually ask ourselves that all the time. Two things. One is, I know anybody that's probably listening to this knows that engineers and architects and people that draw like we do for a living, they're measured. One of the things you're measured by is what your drawings look like.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't look good or they don't present well, there's automatic assumptions made about you. So that was one of the big pushes for us to do that is the presentation quality. Moving to Revit, our presentation quality of our drawings has gone up tremendously. And so the other piece of it is because of the benefits of some of the templating and you can do, it's made us more efficient too, in a big way. So now we're Revit, by the way it works, tends to focus you in certain paths. And so where we thought we were efficient in AutoCAD and doing it this way and doing it that way, and then you get over in Revit and you get through the learning curve of it, and it's like, wow, that was just old-timey the way we were doing it. Now it's so much easier. So the long story short, definitely Revit has been a huge step in the right direction. We're more competitive, we're more efficient, we are able to even offer some of that the Revit coordination pieces and things in the BIM world that we couldn't before or didn't before, or maybe we were a little bit intimidated by that. That's all gone.
Yeah,
So,
that's huge. That's amazing.
Yep,
That
absolutely.
It's enabled you guys to, become more streamlined and efficient and then be able to offer additional services to your clients. I mean, that's just sounds like a win. So one of the things that I really appreciate about working with you, specifically Ben and you guys as a team, is I really feel like as a leader, you don't hesitate to go out and get the resources that you need to make your staff successful, which is really great. And I think why this engagement was such a success between the two of us. But I'm curious, how did the rest of the team feel after the training? I know implementing a whole new workflow, a whole new system can be scary. It can be cumbersome. People are resistant to change. How did the team overall feel about the experience?
Well, that's another good question. You got some good questions today, Kelsey. I'll give you that.
I should get a new
So
job in journalism.
um, to be perfectly transparent in the process, I was pretty nervous making the change myself. All for those reasons. From the standpoint of myself, because when we come on a deadline, and this industry is all deadline driven. If you miss your deadline, you're holding up hundreds of people and millions of dollars. So people get upset pretty quick when you miss deadlines. So I was nervous myself because in my little bag of tricks, I got these little bag of tricks that when it's 30 minutes before the deadline, reaching in, to the finish line, I got these little bags of tricks that I've carried with me for years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, going to a whole new platform, all those bag of tricks were irrelevant. So I'm coming in with no bags of tricks, and I've got to be honest in what I do. I can't cheat this or cheat that or whatever. So that was kind of what was driving me. So from the standpoint of the staff here, they actually after the class were they felt empowered in the software. And definitely that was all related to Bruce and how the presentation works, and the way the classes were segmented was really good. Working on this today and that tomorrow, and some of this builds on some of that. And he has it at in my opinion, at a pace that is slightly faster than it needs to be. But I think that's the way it needs to be done, because Revit has so much depth to it that if you really get bogged down in some of those details, it takes 6 months to get through it. And here's why I say it's at the pace I think it needs to be at. Because one thing that Bruce always stressed was some of the services that TPM offers, that you just pick the phone up, call us, and if you can't make it display correctly, or you remember doing that, but you can't make it do it again, we're just a phone call away. and coming right out of that training class, it was literally 3 days later we were on the phone, and it's very common things that that we needed help with, like view templates. Well, remember when we talked about it, you're supposed to uncheck this box, not check that box. It's just very common things like that when you're sitting there pulling your hair out, it's like, I know I watched Bruce do this, I did it, but I can't reproduce it.
Right.
It's that kind of thing. But the content that we received through the class, I think, is what really helped all the folks feel, because you're sitting in training 8 hours a day.
It's a lot.
By the third day, it's like, whoo, okay, now we got to go a whole nother day. That didn't feel this way, and I certainly have been in training classes where it's like, oh my goodness. But this one didn't feel that way, so that's why I say I think the class is paced properly the way it needs to be. But as a newbie, somebody coming into it, you feel like you're, oh my, we're drinking water from a fire hydrant. It feels that way, but it's really not that way. Now looking back on it, it definitely was not that way. It's just our limited, not what's coming next, or I've never seen that screen before. How'd you get there again? Just that iterative process you got through.
Yeah.
But again, that the follow up from that, we've talked a lot about the training class and what it offered and different things and we had a range of people. I was at the level of beating Revit with a hammer type level. I could print drawings from it. I could actually get some drawings together in it, things like that, all the way to one of our people had never seen a Revit screen before. Right. So truly brand new person, and a person who had already developed bad habits in it, like myself. But from both spectrums were felt very good about it.
Yeah, hearing that your staff felt empowered is huge, and I do think that speaks to a lot of Bruce's ability to kind of bring people up to speed, and we are very fortunate to have him and his experience, and it's great to hear that even after the fact he's there to help answer questions. We definitely we don't want to leave anybody high and dry and just say it's a one and done. We want to be a support system after the fact. So kind of, I guess, wrapping it up here. As you guys get more and more into projects requiring Revit or that you want to use Revit on, do you think you consider additional training or consulting services to keep the team moving forward?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we're in a hiring process right now, and depending upon what that particular person will be doing for us, we'll definitely go through training classes just like we did. That's just part of a new hire program now that we're talking about. So.
Absolutely.
We were that much that pleased with it, and also we need to spend our time drawing and designing and producing drawings, not training people on software how to draw. So you guys being a very strategic partner and keeping us efficient and moving forward is something that we lean on heavily.
Well, I appreciate that. And, we certainly love working with y'all. And, we definitely look forward to continuing to, help get you guys up to speed and making you even more efficient and helping you score more goals, so to speak.
Well, thank you so much. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Well, all right, Ben. Well, I appreciate you taking some time to chat with me. This was really great. And, we look forward to doing the next project with y'all.
Sounds good. Thanks, Kelsey.
All right. Thank you. See ya.
Yeah, take care.